If that wasn't hype, I don't know what is, Bala. Welcome to VCT 2, closed qualifier number 1. I'm Simo, joined with me is Bala, and we will be solving a crime. We'll be solving the case of the one that went to Iceland. 8 teams, 8 suspects, and only one has committed an absolute disgusting travesty. We'll find out who that one is, where they will end up, how they will go, and will they bring pride to North America on the international world stage. Joined with me is Detective Bala. Bala, how are we feeling about the cases so far?
You know, we got to investigate, and we've got a whole bracket, a whole weekend to do so. Is it too early to start talking about ice and start talking about champions a little bit, start talking about worlds? Because in reality, we're about to be halfway towards champions at the end of the year, and we are so close to Iceland at the end of May. So close, Simo. So
close indeed. And you know what's interesting about specifically this close qualifier, before we dive into the 8 suspects that we have, let's give a little bit of a conversation starter over towards the teams that didn't make it. We had teams like FaZe, Sentinels, TSM. You know, for sure, you would think they were a shoo-in after Masters, especially TSM picking up Braxton, trying to get back into the picture, and Luminosity and several other teams, NRG, making their own changes and trying to get back into the mix. But
Simo strikes again.
Oh no! Listen, I said LG, I said FaZe, I said Sentinels. Listen, man, a lot of great teams didn't make it.
TSM, so I got you. You know, you're right. A lot of great teams didn't make it. Like a lot. I mean, FaZe, Sentinels, Gen G, the top 3 out of Masters. So when we think about that in context of what that means for the teams here, the teams that we're about to start watching, this is like the biggest opportunity right now that we have for some of these guys to make it towards the Challenger final at the end of the month and potentially beyond.
So for those of you that may have missed some of the action that occurred last week during the open qualifier, we have a beautiful recap video to give you just a little bit of an inside look as to how the teams qualified and how they got to this exact moment.
And this is low key.
One enemy remaining.
I thought it was gonna be like come out with a bang. Now it's like
one down.
Ooh.
Spike down B. One enemy.
2 here left alone for 100 cubes in the day.
Oh my god, look at this bait! Look at the bait! Rambo!
10 seconds left.
Perusing his way throughout the map, a little bit of a marathon around the world, and is able to
Back down to earth.
yeah, like a clay pigeon. Goodbye, Shazam!
Oh!
Showers are corralled. Inside these showers, Victor gonna pop that running back. They'll start to get some value. Counterpart goes down. The spike looking to fall.
Trying to clear space underneath with the showstopper. Not gonna find too much, but goes into a recover, finds one.
Able to find 2. Paranoia might find the 30. Does do just that. Now in a 1v1. Needs to find Zombs, and he is very healthy and rearing to do so. Looking to clear to the back of the site. Playing the ring around the Rosie and a 4K for Poach.
Out, but it's ineffective here. At least that absolute unit of a player inside Hookah. Great flash to catch Pan as well. He is not done yet. Another landed flash. Another 4K.
Here at this point, Jangler, Sheriff in hand, gonna be sat down by the operator. Another kill to come through from Yane. It's all down to the last Precision. Able to find a couple, but the spike is halfway, and the clutch comes through. Precision goes huge.
Happened early there at a main. Because the 2-man setup over to out from the Cubby. Marbs on the back of sight. Do they expect him in this position? He's going for the knife. He's just going for the double, right? Penny, can he find the second man? No, Baby Bay puts FaZe on his shoulders. He's had enough of this shit. Oh my lord, 4 kills. He's looking for the ace. He goes and he's half tick. That's the game. C9, they've done it. Relics, he's gone down. Win gets away with the consolation prize of a 4.
An incredible journey to get here, and now the journey continues. Will Frodo drop the ring into the lava pit? We'll find out at the end of the breadcrumb trail. We've got Cloud9 Blue to open us up against Immortals on the opposing stream. We also have some action as well, but we'll finish off things here before the lower bracket matches later today, Bala, with Exet and BBG.
Yeah, 2 really awesome matchups. Especially, I mean, both of these really. Cloud9 Blue Immortals will kick us off. I think a lot of people are excited for Poise to finally have his shine. You know, he's here, he's in the starting lineup as the main Jet. And then Exet BBG later on. my man Poach against my man Flyfo. We're gonna go right at it for upper semis. That's gonna be really exciting too.
Yeah, you know, people always say like, oh, B stream, whatever. We got some fire here. We're packing heat, 8 teams, and no team is going to be a slouch. They all want to make it to the end. They want the glory of representing North America at Iceland. Heck, if I was a player, that's what I want too, right? So every match is going to be competitive. Every match is going to be spicy, and every match is going to deliver. And speaking of delivering, Cloud9 versus Immortals, what a first one to open with, especially with how both teams have been, I guess you would kind of say, in the hyperbolic time chamber, training together or separately, whatever, but they've been training on something, working on something, especially, you know, Immortals falling out of Masters and then Cloud9 not making it into Masters. It's been a lot of work to get up until this point for these two teams.
Yeah, it has. Cloud9 has literally had three tries, and they got so close in many of those. In the first one, it was actually Immortals that they went up to and lost to not make it to their first challengers go through, and it was close games. It was very close games in an era of Cloud9 where I think a lot of people were starting to pin some narratives on them where they're not the same without 10, they're not the same with this sort of thing and that sort of thing, and there was no identity, as the community likes to say. Now that they get to go back up against Immortals and get revenge, it's very exciting. We have a lineup that has solidified, essentially.
Yeah, like, listen, when we're talking about poise, you mentioned him, you know, Alter Egos, Doink Machine, Shadow God, Blade Storm. The man has, like you put it before we went to air, ranked to riches. The man is now coming in, and quite honestly, in some of my review of Cloud9, works exceptionally well with Leaf. They pair so well together, and very rarely do you see two duelists just play in tandem with one another. They're not ranked baiting each other. They're playing together, and they've got great utility pieces with them. They've got Mitch, they've got Relics. They've just got a solid team that can help support these duelists. And that's something that I think with Cloud9, they were able to support TenZ. Now they've got 2 other players that, you know, have kind of stepped in as in the duelist role, and they can support them as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of on the flip side, how Immortals was doing really well at the beginning of this year, how they were propelling themselves through Challengers 1 and Challengers 2. Eventually ending up in Masters, was propelling and using Shot Up in ways that were, you know, places where he could get huge advantage, huge value out of really not that much. Just one utility something. So we'll see if Cloud9 in this case will be able to do that for Poise and potentially Leaf as well. But Immortals on the other side of the rosters, there are some really, really good players here. And also, to me, one of the standout stories here is Rossi trialing for this team as a potential, like, mini IGL, kind of sharing the duties with JC Stanny.
You know what's quite interesting about Rossi is you're swapping out Nature for Rossi, and you're taking out a Sentinel, you're putting that role onto another player, and you're putting Rossi in the controller role. So it's very interesting to see how that kind of pans out, how the dynamic shifts completely, and how taking out Nature as a Sentinel, putting in another player, and then how having Chemicals now on the Sentinel, and in some cases Shot Up, if we're looking back to some older Icebox matches.
Let's not
you know,
look at those matches.
Let's, you know, how does a player like Rossi step in and fulfill a piece that Immortals feel like they need? Like, my big question during this best of 3 and throughout this tournament is what does Rossi give to this team that they didn't have before?
Yeah, I think straight off the bat, his Astra looks fantastic. Some of the stuff that he does on controller is quite nice. We'll have to see. I think this is going to be the testing grounds, really, to figure that out, because open quals, you know, we got to see some of the matches. They played against TSM, and they kind of rolled over them. They just walked over them, and with some nice stuff, some nice combinations. But it wasn't one of those matches where it was like, oh, well, TSM kind of, you know, some of the other guys had eked their way in. It was like, oh, well, this game wasn't, you know, the most impressive. No, this Immortals game was very impressive, and we get to see that again against a team who did make it here. So I don't know. The answer's it's not there yet. We'll have to see.
Well, even as TSM Simo, I can give credit where credit is due. Immortals played a mean game, let me tell you. But speaking of Immortals and speaking of immortalizing some players, let's look at our head-to-head for this upcoming best of 3. We've got Leaf. We've got Shot Up, 2 absolutely spectacular duelists. Why don't you walk me through?
Yeah, Leaf is somebody, I think, at the end, when they were playing against Gen G to qualify here, everybody was like, okay, Leaf has arrived finally. In this Cloud9 where they couldn't really figure out where they want to put him. They don't know exactly what role they want him to be. He's on Raze, Reyna, sometimes Phoenix, and he's dominating. He is putting himself up there with the likes of Shot Up. Shot Up at the beginning of this whole VCT Stage 1 was the guy that everybody's like, this is the guy in North America, #1. But there, the stats show very close now as we move into stage 2.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is it's also not quite highlighted in that head-to-head, but you've got great supporting duelists in JC Stanny and Poise respectively, and how they kind of play off one another is going to be the bigger kind of overarching theme. These two duelists paired with one another, how do they kind of go head-to-head? And speaking of the head-to-head, now we finally have the map selection as well for you. We're going to get to see what maps have been selected. I think you were pretty excited about this. You kind of predicted it almost maybe 80%, 90% to fruition. And here we go. Map selection on deck. What are the bans before we get into these picks?
Yeah, so it's an Immortal ban for Icebox and a Cloud9 ban on Bind, which you might think when you hear the Immortals bans Icebox, you're like, hold on, this was a map that they actually were doing very well on initially. This was the, the Reyna Icebox NA meta. But no, they've been starting to ban it recently, and now the rest of their pool, it goes into these 3 maps, Ascent, Haven, and Split. It's selected first Ascent by Immortals. You were talking about how Cloud9 has actually had some decent success here recently.
Yeah, and with the recent success, it's with Poise. It's not with Vice. Since they've put Poise into the roster full-time, they've had 8 wins and 2 losses on Ascent, which is a pretty big number. When we're moving on to Haven, following this map, that is Cloud9 territory. They've been honing that in as their map, 12-2 since Poise joined the roster. That's scary. If we end up on a decider split, I think is where the playing ground kind of gets evened, and it could really be anybody's game on that 3rd map.
Yeah, and I think when we say anybody's game, I think we're probably leaning a little closer to what it is compared to what the narrative is going to be. Cloud9 just won the most recent tournament that they were in. They won the monthly, and they beat out some of the really good teams. It was Andbox in the finals against Cloud9, but that has been historically what has propelled in challengers these teams to do very well. It's been playing in these smaller tournaments, the ones that not everybody's participating in and doing very well. Remember LG's run, how they started off with the Winter Championship win and then went on to perform spectacularly in the VCT.
I couldn't agree with you more, and that's why the big story here for Cloud9, Immortals, we know what we're going to get. We know that they've been working on stuff. We know that they had some great glimmering moments, and they kind of fell a little bit short in Masters. They want to get back to that glory of like, hey, we deserve to be in the top 8 in some of the best in North America. But for Cloud9, it's been a completely different story. Fill this void that has been left since TENS has kind of departed and, went to Content Creation and then Sentinels. And then now you've got Leaf and Poise. How are they going to fill in those shoes? Well, they've been filling them quite nicely. That tournament that you spoke of, that's a phenomenal finish. Some of the best tier 2 has to offer. Yeah,
and then qualifying for this, they came over their nemesises, right? Stopping Gen G, who they lost to in one of those qualifying rounds in the first VCT. So yeah, this will be very exciting to see. Now it's Revenge on Immortals was another one that we also had. We are going to hop into Agent Select for both sides. We'll see if there's any changes on either of the sides, but we pretty much expect the same thing that we saw in open quals from these guys.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing, obviously, Poise on the Jet, Leaf on the Reyna, Mitch on the Killjoy, who quite interestingly has taken a little bit more of an in-game leadership role. We've seen Cloud9 have a variety of in-game leadership, bouncing around varying players over their past and previous iterations of the roster. But now it looks like it's in the hands of Mitch, if I'm not mistaken. It's either Mitch or Relics. But regardless, Mitch, he is the one that is calling. This dynamic seems to be working for Cloud9. Maybe they have some sort of setup where they've got mid-round calling and then early game calling. Whatever it is, it's working.
And the one exciting thing over on the Immortals side is Rossi on Astra. For challengers, we haven't quite seen it. If you've been watching the open quals, you've seen how Astra plays in these games, but it is definitely interesting. Very fast pace in the beginning of the rounds because you can get those stars out so fast. And other than that, shot up back on his queen, Reyna. No more breach experiment for Immortals. We're not messing around anymore. Shot up back on Reyna. It should be very exciting to watch. Other things as well. JC standing on Jet. This is an experiment that started recently, and we're not quite sure how it's going to go, but I'm pretty excited about it for sure.
Yeah, it's a complete 180 than what we've normally seen JC Stanny play, right? He's filled a lot of different roles for Immortals, whether in the past off the bench or on the team or whatever. But now the fact that he's getting into a role, I think similar to that can be kind of compared to 100 Thieves, which is happening on the opposite stream. Nitro picking up the Jet sometimes. You're putting this star caliber player that can make insane amazing decisions, and you're putting them in a duelist role. So now they have the ability to kind of go out and, you know, the quote-unquote go kill motto. But how does that kind of impact the team dynamic? And especially with Rossi, like you said, this experiment of bringing some in-game leadership, some additional in-game leadership. How does that pan out here for this new Immortals kind of, as you like to call it, experiment?
And JC Stanley playing on Jet, maybe he does get, because he's reducing responsibility for calling with Rossi joining in the fray, maybe that enables him to do some more stuff. I mean, when I was watching him, he was very fluid. He was like other Jets that we watch. He was like Poison, his movement, his ability to escape situations, but also put himself into sticky situations as well. One more thing that we really didn't talk too much about. We kind of briefly glanced over Zeta, kind of returning to this utility role. He's playing Sova this time on Ascent, and we'll see what he can bring. Potentially was one of the better breaches when we first saw him, but here we go. 10 seconds for pistol round.
Round number 1 of this best of 3, ladies and gentlemen. Immortals versus Cloud9. 79% of you saying Immortals are going to clean this one up nice and easy on Ascent. 21% of you think Cloud9 have a chance. Early Owl Drone, we get the early look into A. It's going to be fast here for Immortals, clearing the wine cellar, and it's the dash right into sight. The gravity going to take out Relics. JC standing with 2 now to open up, and Cloud9 have to answer.
Drone back out. More falls, 2 versus 4. They're gonna go quick. Yes, they get the first one.
Last player standing.
So back in. I was just gonna end up panning out. There it is. Immortals wipes it down. Oh, actually, I'm just getting spoiled completely.
This has been an absolute beauty to watch to start. The retake here for Cloud9, not quite working out, but nevertheless, you have to give a lot of credit to Rossi that round. Those Astra gravity wells, the Nova pulses, whatever he was setting up first on the initial pick on the entryway when they dashed in, and then setting it up for Heaven. Cloud9's not making it in that way. And then if you're going to try to go through the tree room, well, guess who's there? Shot up, the big, scary, big bad wolf, and he's going to chomp right in.
Yeah, you already hear the stars getting put down. Where it's going to be, not quite sure yet, but it's like, here the round goes. Already, clearly some aggression down in towards mid. We already have Leaf working his way down, but yeah, he's spotted and he's getting spammed. He's gone. A cheeky play, but it doesn't quite work out.
Cloud9, you know, regardless of an economic disadvantage, they like to play very aggressively, gather information with their confidence in taking peaks and winning duels. Of course, it hasn't quite worked out with this initial first round, but we've seen that a lot in their style of play. They feel like they can get it done with Poise and Leaf and even Relics and Zeta in certain instances.
I love it.
Spike planted.
I love the spoilers. So they get on the site here. We hear the spike plant sound. Meanwhile, their take happened at the same time as Cloud9 was working their way up mid. So there's going to be a big flank that they have to deal with if they don't maintain this A-main control. It's going to be Gangsta holding on against 2. See what he can do.
Bolt just trying to gather the intel. Uh-oh, Relics, time to run. On the opposite side, it's Immortals. The run and gun gonna work out. Yeah, that can be frustrating, but Poise waiting for the spike to blow. They got to clear the side. The alarm spot did spot them out on the initial push. And now Nano Swarm just trying to dissuade them from the swing, but you're not going to get too much comfort in holding off the retreat. They'll get a flawless round for themselves, as you may have already heard.
But well done from Immortals. The timing there was really nice.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, on the side of Cloud9, on the retake, they weren't able to pressure enough on the actual A site, where that flank was going to be met with nobody because they're so focused on trying to hold the take coming back from Heaven and such. So, as it worked out, right as the flank came in, we had 2 extra Immortals players joining back into A main rather than holding on or trying to stop the pressure coming through. So.
Big storm here for JC Stanny.
One enemy
We hear
remaining.
it pop, but it's the
Spike
push in
down
onto
B.
B.
Uh-oh.
Spike down B, but the Nano Swarm here, it's going to cook up a couple of players. This is a tough spot to be in, and you see Mitch going forward. They're just stuck behind the logs. Unfortunately, can't get the chop out. Left off to the wayside, just down to 1 final player, JC Stanny. That was a tough push in, just blindly running through the smoke, but great nano swarms from Mitch to not let them go down lane.
And then Zeta being able to escape out market into that logs position, picking up 3 while they're trying still to get their way down lane after delayed. So well done from Cloud9. They picked that one up as work on the issues as we can. Next round looks like a much slower one for Immortals. They are taking the rewards of the bonus round, so they have upgraded weapons this time. Just tried to switch up the pace once, and now back to basics. It shot up working the aim in.
Rossi, interesting position for him. Around that building there. There's the swing for Tiles. Does find one in Chemicals with the crossfire. That's so unfortunate. We had mentioned that Cloud9 loving to play super aggressively, and it's not really quite working out. Just the default for Immortals is enough. And now, do they expect Zeta in this smoke?
I think we know how this goes. He's gonna peek out. He gets 1, 2. Okay, never mind before getting taken out. Well done from him. And the footsteps that we heard moments ago, barreling their way down towards the B site.
Spike planted.
Potentially.
Last player standing.
2 players in the retake. How does this go?
Mitch, alongside Relics, have the tall task of now pushing back into the site. Shot up with 1. There's the dismiss and the swing to try to avoid the shock dart into looking towards lane. JC Stanny, he's got that angle. 3-1. Immortals off to a phenomenal start as now Cloud9 down to an economic disadvantage. We're looking quite good here. And really, it's just been a default. All right, Cloud9 are going to walk up through B main with the utility they have. And after the frags, Rossi's there with a smoke to cover it up. It's like, okay, I'm not letting anything else happen. We're not letting Cloud9 capitalize on anything. They've got great follow-up.
But even with that, Zeta's still able to find a couple.
Yeah. Yeah, so if Cloud9 find an inch, they'll take a mile, but Immortals aren't letting that happen.
They tried. I like the idea to push deep into B main like that. Try to catch them off guard, but yeah, it didn't quite work. Chemicals is fast on the reaction to help out Rossi, and the crossfire is too strong. I think we're having a technical pause now to maybe help this audio. No, it's not the audio. Help the video catch up with the audio and the UI a little bit. It's way ahead.
Yeah, it's like as a commentator, it's like spike down. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, they're not even there. They're not even through B main yet.
Put our cowboy hats on, lasso the video. Well, anyways, so 3-1 money definitely hurting for Cloud9. Definitely. Yeah. They've got sheriffs and whatnot. They are going to buy a little bit. Leaf with full armor relics as well. So definitely some potential. He's positioned over towards A, but again, it's slow default positions. I'm wondering now whether Immortals is going to continue. Look at this from JC Stanny. 9-1. 9-1 on the rounds that we saw. We just basically had those smokes go down on B when they finally took it. The pause is undone, so we'll get to continue watching. But he's had an impact on these first 4.
Yeah, especially on the opening round, the classic jet dash into A, got the smokes down, the gravity well. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Get the safety. That's going to stop the double duelist swing over on A, but despite really not even having the economic disadvantage, they were hoping for something. Shot up, though. Waiting around the bend. We see that Poise is waiting on the opposite side. The Sheriff taps. Not quite enough. Shot up still alive and healthy as the double duelist combo just trying to push forward, and Shot up finds Leaf alongside the Paranoia, and they'll still be stuffed here on this A main.
Poise very low too. Zeta in an interesting position. Just the ghost though. Shot up will clear that if he's peeking. Potentially Poise can help him out if he swings at the same time, but I don't think so. He's pre-firing everything to you. Chemical's gonna make his way all the way through. Nice shot from Relics.
Wow.
But Zeta falls behind him. And he's gravity welled. Can't get out of that spot. And he's gone with the spam. Well done.
Wow. You can imagine the pings too. Hey, he's right here, right in the center. Mitch, though, centering his crosshair right onto Shot Up's dome. He'll take that one out. Still, though, 3 players remain. And he is as good as gone. Tough round, though, for Cloud9. This is where they'll bounce back. Looking at a potential operator here for Poise. this is where things start to get interesting. Where do you position it? How do you play around it? And with the gravity well, I'd imagine it's not going to be that easy, Bala.
Yeah, the ways that they use it in that round originally, that A main pull, just completely shuts down the idea of, oh, I want to walk through and get to one, or maybe go with a flash or something like that. No mobility used from Poise or anything, no dash. So very difficult to deal with. And he could put that down from anywhere on the map, you have to remember.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely see that a little bit more. I think in NA, the gravity well usage has been absolutely insane. The way they're able to clear out angles, pull people back, combo it with different utility as well. Although with the ages that they have with the Reyna, not quite too much you could do to combo anything, but at least shock darts from Gangsta, Hutch's Fury potentially.
I mean, in Europe today, I saw a gravity well pull a Sova in drone mode. He was in the drone, it gets pulled out C-long and just gets domed. Like, I was looking through my drone. What are you doing, man?
Stop, bro. And it's interesting because those are the hard things to react to, because you need your teammates to react for you. You can't react on your own.
Yeah.
So much potential with Astra, and we're only just barely seeing the start of what it might be. All right. Another tech pause, and we're back into it now. A main again. Remember how that got shut down? That was the first round win from Cloud9. The approach might be slightly different. No stars. Okay, there are stars back on A, or conditioning in that direction, but they're all towards B, really. It's the default ones being put down.
You can see Cloud9 playing for retake on B this time around. It's not something that we've seen too often. Usually Mitch will be a little bit deeper alongside Zeta, and now they'll have to pay the price as Immortals are ready to push in. Nanoswarm's going to stall momentarily, but those smokes are down, and the Cosmic Divide. Yeah, this site is so secure for Immortals.
Gravity well down on the stairs as well. Pull anybody off away from shot up, at the same time over towards the lane. They'll have to get their way through the Cosmic Divide, or wait until that goes away. There's going to be a dart potential Hunter's Fury as well, but they get back into B main for free, essentially. So full control afforded to them. Still more from Astra on the side, but shot up does not even get one.
Here comes the Hunter's Fury, though. Lockdown as well. Both teams, there's a Venn diagram. They're committing to it. It's destroyed, though, from the attack. The defender is still there, but guess who's trying to flank back from tiles? It's Rossi down to the 1v1. Gangsta versus Poise, but only 14 HP onto Poise. Gangsta, though, back sight has a little bit of a safer spot to hold. There's the swing. There's the tap. Nope, not quite swinging yet. Gangsta with the classic, just trying to get the jump peak. And the 3K on the round. An absolute disaster of a round. For Immortals, they secure it with all of their utility.
Yeah, that was close. I'm actually surprised that Poise even went for the off shot as Gangsta tried to peek out with his classic to check the tap. But in either case, the 1v1 falls in the way of Immortals. I like the round. The idea, condition with the normal stars that you're putting down, bring back those smokes, wait until they get a lot of control out of B main so that they're peeking spawn, so that they're peeking the stairs, and forcing Cloud9 into even less good positions. There was no trades at that point, but then the Cosmic Divide comes down, and they get the site for free. So much utility has to be spent. Chemicals. We saw relics on Cat very early on the eco round for Cloud9. They're going to try again with knives from Poise though on A or B main.
Oh, he's hungry. He's hungry. Oh boy, that's a full meal for Poise. No dessert needed, but that's what he's looking for. Players have long left the attacker spawn. Looking over towards A. Man, finally, like I said, you give Cloud9 an inch, they'll take a mile. 2 picks despite the trade down towards Cat.
It's funny because they had the same setup, but the round's not over yet. Still full guns. They did pick up both of those, so Leaf and Poise full equipped now. Very, very strong potential. Got to get away from the spam. The Hunter's Fury tag. Did he get it? No. But he will find a random one onto Mitch. Shot up. Alt do. Right on the wall.
Oh,
he gets them both. That's the gun down. Poise still alive with knives. No. And he gets 4. He's going for the ace. 1v1. 5 HP again. Same situation against Gangsta.
Oh, shock dart though. It almost tagged him. The tailwind over. Oh, Gangsta swats him out like a fly. And another round secured for Immortals. How many more will they get? Cloud9 need to find an answer on this half. They need to do something to stop this bleeding.
And it's 2 times in a row that it's Poise versus Gangsta. Poise with low HP, no op in this case, but the knives almost made it work. But when you're not converting those rounds, it ends up really costing. 6-1 on the first half. Where does it go from here? Obviously, the work has happened through B main, but other than that, not too much. Same conditioning, the drone through with the Astra Stars instead of a pull. They actually faked that one out, and it's gonna be a 5-man hit behind this. They don't even know. Dash forward, he's got it.
Yep, and now of course Cloud9 ready with the crossfires. The shots there through the door does get quickly traded. But Immortals, they're not phased. Smokes down, so they have control. That's kind of the whole point of a controller. And they're using Astra to that exact desired effect. And now here comes the retake for Cloud9. 2 players coming into the tree room and 2 players up through heaven. So Immortals have to be careful because it's the 4v4 and Shot Up is injured. Leaf does eventually take him down. Now the swing forward. They're working as a team. Rossi and JC Stanny holding off the heaven push. What a masterful hold from Immortals.
Yeah, they just walked up both at the same time. No swing is going to do much through doors right there. Not really much for Cloud9 to even pull off of there. No flash, nothing to really just stop that at all. Back to the eco round, no knives for Poise. And they lose the op. They lose everything, no saves. Economically, they're gonna hurt, even still for some time. These stars right here, they've sometimes gone to the default. They've used the gravity well over towards A that one time. Instantly, Cloud9 kind of knows, okay, the same stars are getting put down, but they've went B, full 5-man. They've now went A with just 1 dash from JC Stanny through into his smoke. How to fix and how to really combat what Immortals is doing right now, that's got to be what Cloud9 is asking.
I like this Cloud9 style. It's really in your face, trying to get early control and play over to a weaker side to play for retake. Like if you're going to push A main aggressively, you play a little bit further back on B. If you play for B main control, you play a little bit further back on A. But really, Immortals constantly switching it up like a slice of pizza. First they want Hawaiian, then they want pepperoni. They're constantly in different positions, able to anticipate and play around this conditioning that you've highlighted that they've developed and anticipate where Cloud9 may be. They'll put some extra membership for tiles. They'll play it passively because they know Cloud9 might want that control. And with that type of play style, they're able to just, with these, you know, spicy little defaults, hold Cloud9 back.
There's still more. It could still work up in mid, start working the splits as well. No cats or mid pushes happened at all. And we're back to the same old from Cloud9. Try to take one duelist over in towards B. Previously, you might have expected something over towards A, but they stopped with the idea of the gravity well and this drone basically clearing everything out. So no room for Poise, a little room for Leaf. They still are lurking right around that A main area where they might end up fighting against Shot Up. But they'll give that as well up and go over towards mid.
Big problem, though, with this default, the one hole that you can kind of poke through it, is that it costs time. And then you don't have a lot of time when you're actually working on the execute. So far, it's been working out not too shabby. Leaf, though, does find a tag onto Chemical, down to 5, but that's still a player alive. And they're eventually just going to barrel over towards A, which their hit is going to be there. They've got the smokes. They've got Jet ready to dash in. They've got the pieces, everything they need for a successful hit onto A.
There it is. Stars out. Rain of flash out. They take the site they're going to walk through. We do have relics inside of that smoke, but not going to be able to do much damage. They're really not contesting the take at all. He's going to dive onto JC Stanny, though. And Shot It will trade it, so at least 1 for 1.
The 2 members over towards Cat. Now Zeta finally going to join the party. This round going to be quite challenging for Cloud9. Shot Up, just playing Neo in the Matrix. He's the stunt double, avoiding those bullets to the smoke. But now Zeta will see someone. Shot Up, though, just better, built different, finds the frag. Still 2 members remain. Mitch, though, with the frenzy poise, okay, but still Rossi and Shot Up a scary duo dominate on the site. The economic disadvantage just too much for Cloud9. And 8-1 for Immortals. 8-1, Bala. This is an incredible start with the boys in green.
On the attacking side, too, I definitely see Cloud9 starting to struggle with the reads here. The way that we had Leaf kind of peek out of B main for info when there really hasn't been any info over the rest of the map. Maybe you can start to assume a little bit that there's going to be a default. In any case, completely committing to that fight hurts. And then the slow rotate after the stars are actually used on A. Of course, they can come from many different spots. You can't over-rotate in this case. But giving up A entirely, only Relic's going for the one hero dive. On Eco again. No conditioning this time, straight over towards B. A drone through, also lockdown. We don't have that cosmic divide. Doesn't seem like we're going to take out that lockdown. They're going to go for it through the smoke, through the gravity well. It might be a full-on retake again.
Still, Mitch backside, he was the saving grace that Cloud9 needed, but they will slowly start to fall apart. Zeta does find one in transition, but the gravity well is a problem. He's stuck. And that's going to be another clean round here for Immortals off of the force up from Cloud9. So back down to a little bit of a rougher spot. Going to have to be another little bit of a soft buy for them. But man, this is tough. And you know, I think when you talk about that like mid control that Immortals could go for if they really wanted to,
They don't have to.
Cloud9 could also kind of do the same.
Yes.
But Relix is getting shot and just taken care of when he peeks Cat, and that's happened like 3 rounds now. So they don't really feel super safe peeking mid because Immortals have the control there too, even though it's slightly more passive than we see, or than Cloud9 sees rather.
There it is again. Does not want to peek. Oh no. The one-way slightly missed there for Poise. Maybe missed on purpose in some cases. You can get the advantage in somebody hopping up in the smoke, but doesn't look like that as Poise loses the duel. We do drone back in towards mid. Relix is going to peek at this time. But once again, same story. They kind of just play around the door. Meanwhile, they give full lane on that A main control up. Mid's completely open on both sides. Okay, they're walking back over towards B instead. Where's this ult going? Ult canceled. It was Relix, and I'm not sure if he really saw anything.
Get out of my way.
No, Mitch is playing close. He's got the ability to fall back, especially as these darts come. But if he full commits without even playing off his nanostorms, this could be very, very bad. I like the lurk from shot up. Mitch gonna be able to fall back. No, JC Standy takes him out. No nanoswarms now, so they've got the sight.
Yeah, this is going to be completely free, but there's still a player on the site itself. JC Standy goes deep to spawn, up and over and on the dunk, right onto Leaf. They're planting the spike. One player remains, it's Relix, but will you be able to save the day? You have a cape, but a superhero you are not. Gangsta takes him down, and we're 10-1 in favor of Immortals.
I see what you got, Poise, on the 4K last time. This time, I'm going to take the round 2. JC Standy showing up. That was fantastic. And last round and a half now. Cosmic Divide up. Hunter's Fury up. Everything working for Immortals. We do have the knives back from Poise. And definitely a lot of utility and ultimates to be able to use in this round. They have to get something. Otherwise, this is all almost over at this point. How does it start? We're already looking for the knives up draft on Immortals' side. Poise is over towards B main though, and this is the same situation we had last time. It's going to be Rossi and Chemicals to hold.
Yeah, once again, same position, but this time a little bit more passive. Turret up and over, ready where the crossfire. Chemicals falls though. JC Standy's here. Pick him off. The Hunter's Fury, it's not going to be enough either as it doesn't tag a single player. And once again, the Cloud9 attempt has been completely stuffed.
Feels like that's been the only thing that they've relied on to get any sort of early action and reads. It's been this fast B main push with the knives from Poise and sometimes just Leaf on his own. They've left.
I can't do A.
Yeah.
I can't do A either because there's just a gravity well every round. I can't peek.
Definitely ideas to fight back after the gravity well, but yeah, I mean, at this point, the half is over. If you didn't come up with ideas, you're going down drastically on this half. Hey, they're actually going to back off. I thought they might have planted in this case. It actually baits out and spends the time from the Cosmic Divide, and we already have the push, so they know exactly what's happening.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Caught with his paranoia out, sends it flying. Gets a hail of bullets on the opposite end. Mitch now has the tall task of looking into sight, but not looking for the jump up angle. And then JC standing with the 3K in the round. What a half from Immortals. We saw so many, you know, okay, I'm not going to say so many because there wasn't many attempts from Cloud9 to try to figure things out. But the B main push successfully worked once. And that wasn't even a round that they won. And it worked once. It's been so interesting to see Immortals just play the default, you know, buys them a little time, and then 50 seconds left. Let's go B. Let's go A. Let's play with this Astra. Let's play with this Killjoy. Let's play with the utility we have.
The fact that they were winning on those 5-man takes like early in the round also is just like Cloud9 has to try to hold on to something, so they don't want to go too fast just in case this comes. But either case, 11-1, so hard to come back. Cloud9 will have to show something on the attack. They're split up at the beginning of the pistol round. Insta one way. Ooh, nice flash though underneath. That actually catches JC standing off. Thankfully, he dashes away. Both shock darts exchanged. They've got A main control. They'll fall back into decent fighting positions though. Back up into heaven. One over back into tree.
All right, so relatively clear as we've kind of paved the way for the drone. They are slowly backing away. Now for Cloud9, this pistol is so important. You win this, you have a lifeline. You can call a friend. You can take a 50-50 on the Jeopardy question. But if you don't, Immortals win the milli, you know? They get that question, they get the answer, and it's going to be a very tough round after. So they're playing this methodically, they're playing this carefully. Now the hit comes through on towards this east side, stuck in the boathouse, but they're feeling quite nautical. Chemicals, though, does get traded away. Spike is over towards A. They've been cheating. For B, the hit makes it feel like Immortals have to fight back for this control, but the A site's going to be so free based on this hit. Cloud9, a great round, at least to start for now. But now Immortals have the tall task of the 4v3 retake on A.
Yeah, I kind of needed a little bit more from Poise in that final situation. Now 4v3, yes, they've gotten time. The smoke's coming down a little late and a little deep as well. And cat control still from Mitch. So still a lot to do here. Astra Star doesn't quite pull him off. JC Stanley's already out heaven though.
Uh-oh, Relics and Zeta. Mitch starting to join right back. The right-click classic works out. Zeta just trying to buy some time, but he gets swung on by JC Stanley. Now Mitch from the backside, able to find one, but it's the double duelist combo that takes him apart. And now that's match point for Immortals, 12-1. Oh my, Bala, oh my.
They got faked out and it still doesn't matter. And that was kind of the thing for Cloud9. They didn't have the ideas. This time they bring an idea. It works, almost. But they don't quite get enough on that B take. It was almost free. Got one kill. Lost the trade eventually. And then the 4v3 is too strong. The position's too deep for Mitch to help out. I thought that cat flank was going to be able to keep him out of tree, but they just said, no, we're just going to barrel through heaven. Ignore any possibilities of you being on the flank. Eventually, it just comes too slow. So, last attempt for Cloud9. It's Judges, Spectres, and Ares's. And potentially, no. Okay, I thought he was going to go down to that. Gangster. It's a 5-man B approach, Poise. I liked. Oh, that was cool.
What?
Draft in through the smoke, and he dashes on the site. Yes, he gets it. That's an opening.
Wow. Yeah, but it's a quick trade. Make it 2 for JC standing and shot up. Player down below. It's Relics just trying to get a little bit of intel. Finds one. Whoa. He's so low, though. Poise now with the Ares swapping off the Judge. Down to the 2v3. An injured shot up and an injured Relic. Shot up now starting to push forward. One Devour, and he's going to get all he needs and more. Finds one. There's going to be the trade for Poise. Down to Chemicals in a 1v2. 2 Ares on the opposite side, and a recon bolt's going to make things a little bit more challenging. Things have slowed down. Poise. Zeta. Sight in a little crossfire if somebody drops, but Zeta, like a hawk, finds the prey, takes him down, and Cloud9 stays alive.
Okay, I like the opening from Poise. That was definitely really cool. Cloudburst up top, updraft into it, and then dash over top of the roof. Gets them the sight, but then they hold on strong against the onslaught of Immortals players trying to retake through market through spawn. Well done. So they hold on for a little longer. They win that force buy. And Immortals, they've got so much time to work with already on match point on the third round here of the second half.
One mistake from Cloud9 and it's over. You know, it has to be a flawless, near flawless
There's a mistake.
run. There's the first shot, and now the blades. This is dangerous. Nobody whips him. Oh goodness! Now the A site's completely free. Immortals, 2 members though in the tree room. They can be a factor. They can be a problem. Shot up with the Bucky, and now the 4v3.
I think I'm watching version 1 Vanity right now. 2 guys with the Buckies. Leaf is deep though, and he will find one, but not before going down to shot up. He's got a Vandal now. Mitch will get the spike down, but late. Also, Empress popped. So it's Chemicals and shot up against Relics and Mitch, both on the site. Trying to set up a crossfire where they can, and they do give them the space to do so.
Smoke about to dissipate. Relics waiting on the opposite side. There's the Leer, but he's got the shot. Now the spray, still one more player. It's Killjoy versus Killjoy. Down to Mitch. There's the turret. There's the swing. The Phantom, mightier than the Ares. And Cloud9, for one more round, stay alive.
But it's so expensive. So expensive. All the way down to 1. And if they're going to keep the rounds that close, eventually the odds will turn against them. Has to be a little cleaner here. Now the gun rounds. Only was really Bucky's on that round. The first one from JC Stanley. Popped the knives, tried to get more. Then shot up, going for the dismiss Bucky play through the door. It worked out. Stole a Vandal. How does this continue? Up mid, straight through with the drone. There is the gravity well pulling that back. No more information gathered from it. Crossfire here from JC Stanley. Shot up can be here in quick time if Poise and Leaf do end up engaging.
This is scary. This is a problem. Smoked off though. Shot up. He needs to be careful. Oh goodness! JC Stanley and shot up in tandem like clockwork. One does get swatted, but Gangsta, like a turret, will defend the site. Down with another one with the Odin, just all up to Mitch, and he cannot get the job done. What a map from Immortals. So impressive to see the level of Valorant that they brought here for closed qualifier number 1 of stage 2. Paula, color me impressed.
Yeah, I mean, they just dominated that entire time. That attack side was so strong, and Cloud9 had no responses. We've got to see more from them when it comes to the defensive side. We didn't even get to see their attack side, unfortunately, really. Only 4 rounds of that. So, dude, getting stomped that hard in the first map, no real recovery either. Not even like up to 6 rounds or anything like that. That's gonna hurt, and you gotta feel for what the communication is right now in their Discord call.
Yeah, that's you know, I highlighted prior to the match that watching Leaf, watching Poise, they work so well together, and you saw attempts of that. You know, peeking towards B main, setting up a peek for A main. The gravity well never really let that happen or let it pick up steam. Plus the one way. But Shot Up and JC Stanley, we highlighted Shot Up moving into this, but JC Stanley almost dropping a 30 bomb. But every kill JC Stanley got, it felt like Shot Up was right there with another trade. Just absolute beautiful display of Valorant. It was amazing to watch.
That last round especially, I mean, Shot Up and JC gets smoked off, and he's still there with Shot Up. They're kind of playing a deeper angle for Shot Up too. He's kind of giving it up and playing B main, but he's there in time for JC Stanley to push to the smoke. Definitely impressive.
Trust. That's the only thing. Trust. We're seeing that trust develop, and trust me, you're going to want to watch match number 2 when we come back from a short break.
I feel like I need to defend my team's honor here because this is just turning into a bit of a dog battle.
Groups always
I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We're vibing now. We're vibing.
Next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years.
Nah, we're chilling.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but
that's no
that being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
defused.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
You get so much more than just a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, as well as Discovery Plus, with a Galaxy S21 Plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best. Only from Verizon.
Yeah, back.